Namaste, ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ Happy Ganesh Habbada weekend. Happy Chaturthi to all of you. Welcome to our program, Havyaka Association of America Jnana Artha Palaga's program on a college information seminar, as well as recognition of recent Havyaka graduates from high school and college. We have a wonderful panelists here and moderators. And before we begin, I want to say a couple of quick things. So here is the history behind this. About a year ago, some of our Havyaka members, such as Sumati Kashyapi, Divya Hegde, and many others, have been requesting to host a seminar on college education. If I look back at the last year or two, we have covered some topics such as the path towards a successful college education, such as community college, what are the pros and cons between community college, private versus public. We had a lot of discussions and debates and presentations. We also had conversations around how do we invest for funding? What are the different plans such as 529 plans, Coverdale's, UTMA type of accounts for children's education. This is the first time where we are actually bringing a panel like this. So if I look back once again about a month ago, Anandanna and Shubhaka asked me if we could have such a program, and immediately I told them this is a wonderful idea, but I need help in terms of you actually leading it. And I am extremely pleased that they have not only agreed, but they have provided incredible amount of leadership to bring a program like this to all of us. And at the last weekend, Havyaka Exec Committee, we also decided to use this forum to recognize our recent graduates from high school and college, and Anandanna and working with Shubhaka and Ashok Timmapanna is what I meant to say. Ashok Timmapanna working with Shubhaka and Anandanna are integrating all of that together, and they will be talking about that within, during this program. I would say about 1 hour into the program, they will segue into that. With that, we have I would like to call upon the leaders for today's program, Anandanna and Shubhaka, and I think Shubhaka is, we can see her. Thank you, Shubhaka, for leading this fantastic program and fantastic initiative. I can see that you and Anandanna have putting a lot of energy behind this. This wouldn't have been possible without your leadership and all the panelists here and their support. So with that, I would like to hand over the mic to you. Okay.
Thank you, Balanna. Namaskara ellarigu. Nanu Shubha Hegde, New Jersey HAA Chapter inda. Ningaki ellarigu Chauthi Habbada Shubhashayagalu. Hope you all had a wonderful Ganesha festival. Today, for the first time, HAA Jnana Artha Education is presenting college information session with our own Havyaka youth. This effort is to bring Havyaka youths together to share their high school and college experience and knowledge with younger kids and parents of our community. We hope what they are going to share today will be helpful to all of us. As we wanted to make this event a true youth program, we have two youth MCs to ask the questions to the panelists. I'm very excited to hear from them, and I'm sure you all are excited as well. They will introduce themselves, and we will begin the program in a minute. Before that, I wanted to briefly talk about the flow of today's program. First, panelists and MCs will introduce themselves. Then, two MCs will ask pre-selected questions to the panel, and each panelist will answer the same questions based on their own experience and knowledge. Once pre-selected questions are done, the panel will answer questions received from viewers through YouTube comments. So please do send us any questions you may have through YouTube comments. And lastly, after college information session is over, we will recognize 2020 Havika children graduated from high school and college. So with that, we will start the program. Over to you, Ananya and Bhakti.
Hi everyone, I'm Ananya Bhatt from the New Jersey HAA chapter. I'm going into 9th grade at Montville Township High School.
Hi everyone, my name is Bhakti Hegde and I'm also from the New Jersey HAA chapter. I'm going into 11th grade at Ridgewood High School.
So before we begin the session, we'll have the participants give a brief introduction about themselves. So if you don't mind, Krishna, you can begin.
Thanks, Ananya. First of all, I want to say it's great to be here. Happy Ganesh Haba to everyone. And thank you, Anand and Uncle, for organizing this. My name is Krishna Rao. I'm also from Ridgewood, New Jersey, just like Bhakti. I also attended Ridgewood High School, where I graduated in 2015. Between 2015 and 2019, I did my bachelor's degree in statistics at Carnegie Mellon University. And in addition to that, I was actually pre-med, originally planning to go to medical school. And for a number of reasons, I decided to pivot into data science instead. And I'm now a data scientist at a biotech startup based out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. In high school and college, I was the writer for my school newspaper. I love to write. I was a student ambassador for the Alumni Association in college, and treasurer and VP of the Indian Cultural Organization that ran big events like Holi and Diwali on campus. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. It's great to get to speak with you all. I had a pretty non-traditional academic path in early career, so I look forward to sharing some of the insight I gained through that experience.
Apurva, you could go next, if you don't mind.
Okay. Hi, my name's Apurva, and I'm from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and the high school I attended was Cumberland Valley. I graduated in 2016, and then this past spring I graduated from Penn State University, and my major was computer science, and I also minored in Korean language. The activities that I did in college, they were mostly centered around, because of my major, there's a lot of outreach that happens to keep other women in STEM and in computer science. So I was involved in Women in Engineering program as a math course facilitator for other women in the major, and also on the marketing committee for Women in Computing. But then I also had other college activities just for fun or volunteering, which included K-pop music and dance club, where I was on the dance team there. And also Penn State has a big organization called Dawn, which helps enhance lives of families and children who are dealing with cancer. So I was on an entertainment committee for that. And I stayed involved in campus, and yeah, Penn State is where I went.
Neha, you could go next.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be speaking on this panel today. I am Neha Kohli. I'm from Plainfield, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and I went to Plainfield East High School. And right now I'm pursuing a double major in choral music education and vocal performance at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. For college activities, I have a lot of class. I go to class from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then in there, I'll do choir. And I also go to the nearby schools to work with students. But other than that, I don't really have time to do many clubs. And if I'm not doing class, I usually just get coffee and hang out with my friends. So yeah.
Thank you. Sapna, you could go next.
Hello, nice to see you all. I'm really excited to be here and share some of the insight I've gained over the last few years. So my name's Sapna. I'm from San Jose, California, which is in Northern California or the Bay Area. I went to a small private school in downtown San Jose called Notre Dame High School. And I absolutely loved it. My graduating class was 180 or so I got very close with my peers. And I currently go to UCLA, and I'm an incoming third year there. I have a major in human biology and society with a concentration in bioethics and public science policy. And I'm also a public health minor. So I'm on the pre-med track, but want to explore more in public health as well. So a lot of my activities are regarding medicine, public health, science, that sort of realm. So I am the vice president of a chapter of a nonprofit in UCLA, and it's called UAEM, which works to increase accessibility to medication and life-saving drugs. So it's kind of like a health policy club. I am the finance director of my a cappella group. So that's kind of the fun activity that I like to get involved with. I'm also in this organization called Mobile Clinic, which works to give healthcare to populations experiencing homelessness in West Hollywood and the Santa Monica area. And I also do autism research. And so we work on sensory processing disorders in children with autism. As for campus life, I really love UCLA. It's been such a great experience being part of such a huge, exciting public university. There's always a lot to do in the LA area. So if you have any questions about going to a big school, the transition from a small school to a big school, or the pre-med experience, I'm happy to answer any of those.
That's great. Thank you. Nehal, you're next.
Hi, I'm Nehal Hegde. I'm from Portland, Oregon, where I attended a public high school called Sunset High School, and I graduated in 2018. Currently, I am going to be a junior this incoming fall at the University of Washington, where I'm pursuing a major in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. I'm also planning to maybe minor in applied math. As of now, I am also an undergraduate researcher in the pathology department at UW, it being a top-tier research facility. So that's where we work with a species called C. elegans, and it's basically like a model organism that, models a lot of human genome. So that's really exciting, and I love being a part of the lab and, just learning a lot about what we're doing there. I'm also a captain of my Indian dance team, and I love having an outlet where I can choreograph and also be surrounded by parts of my culture. I also attend a big public university, so I love being able to, get myself into research and different clubs, but also being able to experience that cultural background. So anything about community as well, I can answer as well. And yeah.
Thank you. And last but not least, Anand.
Hi, my name is Anand. I'm from Ridgewood, New Jersey. I'm Krishna's brother. I attended Ridgewood High School. I graduated in 2017. For my first 1.5 years, I went to Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. And then I transferred to NJIT, where I'm currently going into my 4th year studying computer science. So right now I'm working with the commercial technology team at Johnson & Johnson as part of a co-op. So if you have any questions about the differences between public and private schools, or transferring schools, or commuting from home, which is what I'm doing, I'd be happy to answer with that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you all so much for answering, and now we can begin the program. So I'll be asking the first set of questions regarding the first 2 years of high school, and then Bhakti will ask the second set of questions regarding the last 2 years of high school. So to start, the first question is, what was your high school experience like? And what is your recommendation on the number of AP courses to take in high school, and the benefits of AP courses and how helpful they are for college? So if anyone would like to begin by answering. Apurva, you can start.
Hi, everyone. The high school that I went to was a really big high school. I think our graduating class was actually around 500, so it was like a little bit of a different experience from Sapna, as she mentioned. So I'd say we had a lot of classes offered, and my advice for just like AP classes and what you should decide to take or not is, as long as you can handle it, I think taking as many as possible would be good, because they really can knock out a lot of credits for you in college. And from my experience, I was a lot less free once I went to college than I was in high school. So I would try to do as much as I can in high school. And I'd say they are helpful for college just because they get you more prepared for like the kind of classes you'll be taking in college. So yeah, I'd say take as many as you can, and they can be helpful and also take out requirements for you once you do get to college.
Yeah, okay, thanks. If anyone has anything to add on, feel free.
Yeah, I can add to that. I would emphasize that make sure that you can handle it, like before you sign on to take an AP course. And in terms of getting into college, I would say like GPA is like incredibly important. So make sure that you're taking an AP course where you can get a high grade, and make sure it's something that it's, if it's ideally in line with what you're intending to study in college. For example, if you are going into engineering or something, then maybe focus more on math APs, math and physics, or science APs, compared to like AP history or AP English.
Yeah, I could jump off that as well. I definitely agree with what both Apurva and Krishna said. Like, definitely take what's reasonable. Don't overwhelm yourself, because it's important that you also have time to sleep and eat and do all of those amazing things. I think another thing that's important to understand is that different schools, different universities take AP courses differently. So for example, at my school, it was really helpful that I had taken AP Spanish and AP English in high school. Whereas like AP Bio, AP Calc ended up not really mattering in terms of skipping classes when I got to college. So that definitely differs from school to school. But I think one of the big benefits of taking AP courses is just that level of rigor and getting used to having a little more of a workload. So for example, I found that taking AP Bio in high school is very helpful for my intro level bio courses in college. So yeah, I think it leads you to a more gradual change. And then in terms of how many APs to take in high school, I think it's definitely dependent on how many are offered. So you want to take somewhere close to how many are offered, but just keeping in mind, take what you are able to take and take what's reasonable for you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Those are all really great answers, super informative. So moving on to
add on one thing.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so for any of your viewers who might be taking IB classes, I could definitely offer some insight there, because my school only offered IB classes, and I definitely want to echo what the past three other peers have said. But in terms of IB, I know there's also the kind of dilemma of whether should I pursue an IB diploma or not. An IB diploma kind of restricts like what courses you take and how you shape your curriculum. So I personally did the IB diploma, but looking back, for any of our viewers who are in IB, I would definitely say choose whether IB diploma is right for you or not, based on whether you are going to be able to take the courses that you want, being able to test when you want, and again, being able to not like overwhelm yourself, because as I think either Krishna or Anand said, you need to be able to maintain a GPA that is, of foremost importance to the college application. So.
Yeah, thank you. That was really good insight, because that wasn't part of the question. So yeah, thanks. So moving on to the next question, what are your thoughts on the SAT or the ACT, the advantages and disadvantages of both, and what you recommend students when you recommend students to take these exams, and your thoughts about self-preparation and paid preparation, and what helped you study for the SAT and the ACT? So anyone can begin. Neha, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, so I think that the SAT and ACT are catered to like different kinds of students. I preferred the ACT. I know a lot of my friends preferred the SAT. I found that the main difference was mainly the essay. The SAT was a lot more like rhetoric writing, and the ACT was a lot more like explain what your opinion is on a certain type of topic and that kind of stuff, which I was better at writing about. I also think that if you like doing the research on both of the tests and deciding what you're stronger in and what categories will help you choose which one you'll probably want to focus on. And then also taking pre-tests of those exams, your sophomore year of high school, so that you know what to focus on before you take the exams again junior year, really helped. And then you can also decide exactly what spots to cater your studying to.
Yeah, okay. If anyone would like to add on to that, go ahead. But yeah, thank you for your answer.
Yeah, I can add. So I took the SAT way back in 2013, which was the old SAT, so I can't really speak to the differences between ACT and SAT right now. But in terms of general preparation, so I took a paid course, and it was for the whole, like all the sections of the SAT. I thought ultimately it was only helpful for understanding writing and grammar rules. And personally, like I saw my score increase a lot when I started to take multiple practice tests on my own. So that is my bit of advice for anybody preparing for either of those two tests.
Yeah. Oh, would you like to? Okay, I can go for it. Yeah, so I think another difference between the SAT and ACT, for me, I tried both out. So I did practice for both and realized at first I thought I was better at the SAT. So I went forward with that. And then I tried an ACT, and then I realized that was actually more catered to who I am as a test taker. I think in addition to the writing section, what Neha mentioned, another difference is I think the speed of the questions is a little different, where I've heard rumors that like the SAT asks harder questions, whereas the ACT is more straightforward, but you have to do it quicker. So something to think about there. And then the ACT also has a science section. It's kind of more analyzing data they give you, but that is another larger difference between the two. And at least for my experience, I did take a paid course as well, but I also agree that the biggest factor in improving my score was definitely taking more practice tests. So I strongly recommend that.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, thank you.
I'd also like to just echo whatever Krishna and Sapna said about practice being really important, because I also took paid preparation for the writing section. Like Krishna said, I think that was the one that helped the most, or that like they taught you the patterns the most, because both of these tests, or I didn't take the ACT, I took the SAT, but I think it's a lot about just seeing the patterns repetitively and knowing how to take the test more than it is the knowledge sometimes too. So just taking lots of practice would be the biggest thing that could help. Yeah, so but just wanted to echo the practice, how important that would be.
Yeah, thank you. If anyone has anything else to say, feel free.
Yeah. Sorry. So I was going to say, going off of what the others said, is definitely true. What I remember is that the SAT has trickier questions, but you have a little more time, whereas the ACT is more straightforward, but more time restricted. So you have to decide like what type of test taker you are. And I definitely agree that taking more practice exams is the best way to get better. I know it's kind of boring, but it's definitely the best way.
Yeah, thank you. So if that's all anyone has to say, I'll move on to the next question. So what are your guys' thoughts and suggestions on volunteer work, extracurricular activities, and leadership, etc. in high school, and how your high school teachers and counselors can help? Nehal, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, for sure. So in high school, you definitely want to engage in volunteering and extracurriculars, as you know, that's what's going to set you apart into your college admissions, whoever's looking at your college app, because that usually, you know, gives them a kind of a picture of into your life of who you are, what you're passionate about, what you have spent, you know, a couple years of your life doing. I do want to reiterate, however, that it's important not to choose these activities based on like, oh, like that competitive club looks pretty good on my college application. Like that's going to make me stand out. That's frankly like college admission counselors and admissions process is going to see right through that, because what they want to see is who are you besides those numbers from school? Who are you besides your SAT? Who are you besides your GPA? So I would see a lot of students, a lot of my friends simply join clubs just because like, oh, it's speech and debate. Oh, it's DECA. Like, you know, everyone's doing that. It's got to look good. And if that's your reason to join, that's okay. But make sure that your reason to stay is because you are committed to that and you think that, hey, I really, really like doing this and I want to invest my time here because that's, you know, I think that's a part of me. And naturally, leadership opportunities will come through because of your passion, your determination to not only, you know, be invested in the activity yourself, but be invested in promoting the improvement in those that are younger than you. So definitely engage in things that you like and make the best of those things.
Yeah, thank you. There were some really good points made. If anyone else would like to add on, or
I can go. I definitely completely agree. I think that, you know, when we talk about school and grades and SAT, ACT, like this is the fun part. So I strongly, strongly recommend getting involved, doing what makes you happy. So for example, if you like to tutor or if you like volunteering at a hospital, just there's so many different volunteer experiences. You can like teach people how to do sports, all sorts of things. And then in terms of activities you can get involved in your high school, there's just so many things that you can do. So I strongly recommend exploring that as you're a freshman and a freshman, sophomore. And then as you get older and have less time to do these because you have more school, definitely delve more into the ones that you truly, truly enjoy. And like Nehal said, that's kind of where you'll start getting those leadership opportunities as well. In terms of how high school teachers or counselors can help, I think that doing these activities in itself does strengthen your application as a whole, because a lot of my essays for applying were about the extracurricular activities and volunteer opportunities that I did, along with some of the letters of rec that I got from teachers or counselors or anyone that I worked with. Were also through these activities. So for example, like I did leadership in high school, or ASB, student government, your school might call it something different. And I got like one of my teachers who taught me in a class to also write a letter of rec about, she could also add a little bit more about how I was in this different extracurricular. So I definitely recommend through extracurriculars in your classes itself, definitely get used to speaking to those teachers and getting to know them on a personal level.
yeah, okay, thank you. That's some good information to hear. Would anyone else like to say anything?
Yeah, so also, along with everything else, a way that teachers can help is that certain activities you might be doing at school, you might not even know you could get volunteer hours for. So my choir in high school, we used to go to nursing homes and sing, and it wasn't a required performance. We would just do it during Christmas time because it was like caroling. And one time I asked my choir director, and she was like, I can get you guys volunteer hours for that because technically you're volunteering. And also just asking your teachers like what you can do to help them out, and you'll be surprised like how much they're actually able to help you with volunteer hours.
Yeah, I've heard about like choirs going to nursing homes before, so yeah, that's a really sweet thing to hear. If anyone else would like to add on, I can move on.
I can add one. Sorry, did I cut someone off?
No, I don't know, but
That's okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. So just one different thing I want to say is that like a mistake I see people making a lot is that they do maybe like a one-time activity and thinking that that's going to somehow be really important for their college application. Like if you go do Habitat for Humanity, like one event, like you have to think about a long-term kind of thing for volunteer activities you're going to eventually put on your resume for college, because that's kind of the format that colleges see on the Common Application. So invest heavily in those activities that you do consistently and over time, and maybe even like build up over time. Yeah, that's my one thing to add.
yeah. If someone else was gonna go, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just want to say, I was going to say exactly what Krishna was going to say, actually. It's really good to invest in depth instead of breadth, I'd say, in like your activities. Colleges want to see your commitment and passion for something. So investing your time into something that you grow and eventually get a leadership position for or something like that shows your passion for something and your interest and your hard work a lot better than if you just joined a lot of different clubs for just like you didn't really do anything in the club. You just kind of went to the meetings or something, they're going to see right through that, like Nehal was saying too. So yeah, I definitely say like get invested in like a couple things because also the way college application processes work and whenever you're making, I guess, your resume or something like you want to show, you can't put a list of everything that you did. You want to be putting the things that mattered most and how you impacted those organizations.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
and sorry,
No,
if I
yeah.
could add one more thing. So I was personally involved in band. I wasn't involved in too many different clubs, but with band, I was involved in marching band, jazz band, curricular, and I also was in a region jazz band for 1 year. And I think, that really helped with my college applications because it reflects well on your time management abilities because they do ask you to say how many hours per week, each activity was. So if you're heavily involved in something, it really reflects well on your time management abilities and your dedication to that particular thing. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of good information was just answered, so thank you. So if anyone else has anything to say, moving on to the last question. So far, thank you all for answering these questions so well. But what are your advice, thoughts, and suggestions on paid college counseling services for college applications? And have you taken a counseling service and did it help? So Sapna, you can start.
Yeah, so my high school actually had a college counselor. So for that reason, I did not seek any outside paid college counseling services. That being said, in terms of other resources that are really, really helpful, I had my English teacher who I was really close to in high school read almost or a good number of my essays that I had sent out to universities. And also I had some of my good friends who were older in college. I had my entire family read all of my essays to make sure that it sounded like me and it sounded like something I was passionate about. And I found that to be super helpful. That being said, I did think my college counselor was pretty helpful in terms of telling me what schools were feasible, and encouraging me to look at a wider range of universities. So I definitely do recommend reaching out to friends who are in college, family members who have gone through the process or anything like that. Or if you have a designated college counselor at your high school, really take advantage of that too.
Yeah, thank you. So would anyone else like to add on to what she said?
Yeah, I can add to what Sapna said. On the other side, we had a college counselor that we paid. So Anand and I were siblings, so I was the first one going into college. So I felt like it was more of a reassurance because, we didn't really understand the system that well. And me being the first sibling going into college, it was helpful to get somebody to explain everything to us at a higher level. Also, we didn't have like specific college counselors at our public high school, so that was a little bit different. But overall, in terms of how much it actually helped, so we would do. So this guy was I think he was like a former admissions officer at Brown, and I would speak to him once a month, and he eventually reviewed my college essay before I submitted it. I don't think it was that helpful. I think the most helpful are people who have so I'd say like bottom line is like don't take too much advice from people who are far out of the college admissions process. The best people to give advice are probably people who have been through it recently, people who are in college right now, or their parents. Talk to them and they'll be able to give you like all the information that you need to know about the whole process.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure that some of them can agree on that. So if anyone else has anything to add on or would like to share any of their personal experiences, they can go.
I'd also like to say that like the people around you can be really helpful too. So even if you're not doing a specific paid service, there's probably so many people, you know, like maybe like brothers and sisters of friends, or just even your other peers applying to review what you're doing. And you can know if you're being on track also just talking to everyone, seeing like, oh, like, what are you doing right now? Like, are you also like writing your essays? Have you like also finished taking your SAT? So I didn't have any paid college counseling services, but I do think like I guess it could be helpful to like a reassurance, like Krishna said too, to make sure you're doing everything right, and also to have like people to hold you accountable for like you're doing things on time and reviewing your work. So yeah, but I also like to say like leverage everyone around you and get lots of different opinions, because if you keep asking the same people for advice, then it might seem like your essays all seem good, but if you ask somebody else, then you might get a different perspective or new ideas. So that can also be helpful.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to say anything? Nope. Okay, so if that's it, those are all the questions that I have. Thank you all so much for answering, and I'll hand it over to Bhakti.
Thank you, Ananya, and thank you all for answering. I learned a lot of new information. So, as mentioned before, I'm going to be asking the second set of questions, which are about the last 2 years of high school and going on into college. So, the first question is, how did you do your research on colleges, and what kind of resources helped? Anyone can begin.
I can go for it. So I think that personally online is a very helpful resource, and just looking anecdotally at what other people have done. So for example, I ended up applying to schools that I had heard about, other like schools I'd already heard, I had friends going to, or just universities that you hear about pretty much. But I found that online was helpful because at that point when you're starting to think about where you want to apply, so maybe around the end of your junior year and the summer between your junior and senior year, it's helpful to look at your GPA, the test scores you've gotten, and then kind of see where you fall around. I want to say that very lightly because that can be very discouraging at times. I know that you can go and look at average scores, and they'll give you like a 25th percentile to 75th percentile range of where they see students at that school, the matriculated students, fall into. So I found that to be super helpful, just to think about, okay, what schools were feasible for me to get into just based on what I had gotten on my standardized tests. And then maybe what schools were maybe not worth applying to just because my score was different from their range. That being said, you might hear these terms a lot. They're called reach schools, target schools, or likely or safety schools. So that's kind of like 3 tiers of schools that you can apply to. Reach being schools like Harvard and Stanford and Yale and those sort of schools. So schools for everyone, they're kind of harder to get into. Target is kind of based on where your scores lie. Is it something feasible? Are you in that target range? And then likely or safety schools are more about, okay, my average score or my score is a lot higher than the average score. And I think I might have a good chance of getting into the school or even get scholarships through the school. So I think it's very important to apply to all of them because honestly, it's such, it's hard to see how this process is going to go just because it happens to be really random sometimes. So I strongly do recommend applying to a very wide range of schools, not only in terms of like quote unquote prestige, but also the different types of schools. So for example, I applied to like all women's colleges like Scripps, huge public schools, both in and out of state private schools that were really small, or in-state private schools like that are kind of bigger like USC. And I think having that wide range of things was super helpful for me because I think throughout my senior year, what I wanted in a college changed. I went into it being like, oh, I want to go to a small private school. And then now I'm at one of the biggest public schools. So definitely do not discount any options. So definitely apply very widely.
Thank you. That was really good insight. Would anyone like to add?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So, oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely everything Sapna said, I definitely want to echo that. After that initial step of like, okay, like, this is where my kind of scores and kind of like what I've done in high school kind of places me, you can take one step further and think about, okay, like maybe I should research some colleges, specifically what they can cater to me, right? So if you will know that you want to be doing research in college, you could, look at like, okay, like what institutions offer maybe this kind of research? What are they most forward in? Oh, I'd like, really like to maybe be an undergraduate researcher there. Or you might want to go straight into a computer software job right after your 4 years, maybe go to a university in a city that may give you more internship opportunities, things like that. So definitely once you kind of figure out where you kind of land in that score range for like reaches and safeties and apply broadly, you also want to take into consideration into applying colleges that can specifically benefit your college experience and what you can get out of that.
Thank you. Yeah, Anand, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, so going off of what Nehal said, you should definitely look at what majors the colleges offer, see if those align with your interests. And taking that a step further, you can even look at what courses they offer. Most colleges will have that information on their website. It will list out a 4-year plan, like what courses you would take each semester. So one thing is, are those courses things you can handle? And do they offer a wide variety of electives? Like I go to NJIT, and one of the reasons that I decided to transfer here was because I noticed that they offered lots of different electives for computer science, from which I could gain lots of different skills. And another thing is the location of your school is important, because then, for example, NJIT is located close to New York City. So a lot of the companies from New York City come to our job fairs. And I'm working for Johnson & Johnson, which is a New Jersey company. And I actually got this position from an on-campus interview. So definitely location is important.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Anand and Nehal said. Academics is, of course, like the number one thing that you're going to the college for. So make sure to research that. I know it can seem kind of far, like out in the future, like what your major is eventually going to be and like the specific courses you're going to take, but that really is important ultimately in like how you do at that university. There's also other things to consider, like how much, some things you can look into are how much the school focuses on undergrad versus master students and PhDs, how like researchy the school is versus how employability focused it is. For example, my school, I felt that it had a bigger focus towards graduate students compared to its undergrad. And it also was a more research school. So in terms of employment, some of the professors at a more employability based focused school might be able to help you with actual job opportunities, leading you in the right direction, whereas professors, I felt at my school, were more leading me towards, and leading their students in general towards, academia. So that can be a little bit of a challenge. And then one more thing is that interdisciplinary programs are pretty popular these days, so I would suggest looking into those. Those are things like human-computer interaction, information systems, data science. I find those are good, especially for people who have like a very diverse set of interests and aren't able to like focus in on a particular subject, because that one interdisciplinary field helps you to cover all sorts of different things. So yeah, that's actually one of the, I went into data science partly because of that.
Got it. Thank you. Would anyone else like to add?
Yeah, so what I wanted to say is that if you're pursuing a creative major, then a lot of times your audition or your portfolio is just as important as academics. So I put a lot of my focus into that, and then researching programs that had to do with what catered to me. So the mistake I did was I applied to a lot of schools, and then once I got accepted, I realized that some of them didn't necessarily have the best options for me compared to other schools. Also, some other things to research would be the environment that the school is in. If you don't want to live somewhere cold, don't go to a school in Minnesota or something like that. And what the dorms are like, the dining halls are like, those you're going to spend a lot of time there. So you really want to make sure that you don't go somewhere that you really don't like. And what the campus life is like, if you want a school that has a lot of people in it, or if you want a small school, that's really important. What the professors are like, if you have a lot of contact with the professors, or if you are taught by TAs. I know the school that I go to, U of I, we have our professors, but a lot of my classes are taught by teaching assistants. And some of my classes, I've never even met the professor before, which I don't mind, but some people really mind that. So you just want to research everything.
Thank you for your insight. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Yeah, one more thing that I'd like to add is even though I personally did kind of know my major or like what I wanted to go down career-wise, and kind of stuck with it, like a lot of the times you probably won't, and you probably will change majors. So another thing that could be kind of important to look into is if you're not too confident about your major, look into how transferring between different colleges and programs works within the school, because I know some schools are a lot more strict about that, and that could be a lot of hassle and trouble later if you aren't able to get into a different program. So that might be another thing to see, like what the flexibility of the school is within the programs.
Thank you. Is that all for this question, or can we move on? Okay, let's move on to the next question. So this question is, when should students begin the college application process? How many colleges did you apply for, and why did you choose the college which you are attending or have attended? What was the thought process while selecting the college? Anyone can begin.
I can start. So, in terms of when, I don't remember when I began the application process. It was a while ago. I think I applied for somewhere around 15 colleges total, maybe 15, 17, something like that. Applied to a whole range, state schools, private schools, and I ultimately chose Carnegie Mellon because it was very strong in sciences, math, and engineering, while also having like interdisciplinary programs, like I mentioned, with the humanities. And to be perfectly honest, reputation did play a huge role. I wanted to go to a school, at least where I thought that um, the students I would be surrounded with would also be very high performing, people who I could be inspired by, and just a very intellectually stimulating and challenging environment. So that was kind of my reasoning.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to add?
I can go. So I'll try to attack all of the different questions because I know there are a bunch. The first one about when students should start applying, I recommend doing it as early as possible, at least for the UC application and the common application. I tried to get my essays done before my senior year started. So I had a lot of time to try to get edits, and I just wanted to turn everything in as soon as possible, and I wanted to be done with it. So that was kind of my perspective. If you have time the summer before your senior year, I recommend doing the same, just so you do have a lot of time to sit on what you're talking about and to like make sure that you really feel connected to what you're saying. I just recommend applying earlier. And then in terms of how many colleges, I think around the same. I applied to around 15 or 20, which includes UCs, and I applied to all the UCs, or most of them, so around 6 to 7. And then in terms of choosing the college, a lot of my friends know this. I ended up taking really, really long to decide because throughout the whole process, I never had a dream school of where I wanted to go, which was nice because I was never like really happy or sad depending on hearing back from the colleges. But for that same reason, it took me forever to think about where I wanted to go. And a big component of that was also applying to such a big range. And I didn't know, I ended up narrowing it down to 3 schools, like one, a very small private school, and then one being UCLA, and then the third one being a very small private school, really, really close to my house that offered me like a pretty nice scholarship. So very, very different experiences in all 3. And I knew that I'd be choosing like a very different experience. So I ended up like committing to UCLA. I think the second to last day I had to decide. And it really went down to one being location, because I wanted to go to school in Los Angeles, where the weather's really nice. And I'm like a hour-long flight from home, which I thought was the perfect distance for me. I really enjoyed UCLA's diversity. It's very much a pre-med school or pre-health school, because we have the hospital, which is like a 10-minute walk maximum from the dorms, which I found really helpful. I think it had a really good and happy energy, and I ended up choosing a big school because they say this whole thing that you can make a big campus feel small, but you can't make a small campus feel big. And for me, that was kind of the thing that was ringing through my head when I was deciding between a very, very small private school and a huge public school. I think another big thing was price. UCLA ended up being half as much as the other school that I was choosing between, which now, considering that grad school or professional school is like on the horizon, it's really nice to think about that. So yeah, just something to think about. I know I threw a lot of different things, but my biggest recommendation is to not lock yourself into one line of thinking, because I have many friends who entered in saying like, oh, I'm going to go to the school, I'm going to go to the school. And then now after 2 years of college, they're like, I don't love it as much as I thought I would. So definitely don't go into it closed-minded, and be open to whatever can happen.
Thank you. That was very helpful information. Would anyone else like to add?
I can go next. I also applied a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly what the timeline was, but I do think like a lot of it, at least like early action stuff, starts the fall semester of your senior year is when it starts being due. But you should definitely start it early. Then you can have more edits and reviews of your whole application. And I personally had like a more, like I said, going into college, I already kind of set computer science as my career path. So I looked mostly into colleges with good computer science programs. So that narrowed down a lot of what I was looking for, I think. And also I didn't want to have to pay out of state tuition unless I was going to a really good school. So I stayed within Pennsylvania mostly, just for like price reasons. So I applied to 5 colleges total. And then within the ones that I got accepted to, Penn State, there's an honors college within it that's like a little bit more selective. And like Sapna said about how you can make a big school feel small, but you can't make a small school feel big, is kind of a big part of the reason I decided Penn State. And I think that was like, that's really so true because especially since I was in this honors college, it really connected me to a bunch of people that were also really driven, and it felt like a really rigorous environment without feeling like a really small environment with like possibly less opportunity, just because bigger schools do offer in some ways more opportunities in terms of clubs, just because there are just more people and more interest and demand for stuff. So that's kind of the line of thinking I went down when I was selecting my school and when I was searching for schools too.
Got it. Thank you for your insight. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, when I was applying, something that I didn't know, because no one I knew had applied to a music major before, but when I was applying, I applied everything early action. But if you apply early action so the way it works is you have to get accepted by the college, and then you audition and you have to be accepted by the School of Music a lot of the times. And if you apply early action, you won't get your decision early because your audition result wouldn't have come in. So make sure you look into that and see if the auditions are before the early action deadline or after, because you don't want to waste money on applying early. And I chose my college because of the size and also the professors. the class choices. There's a lot of variety of classes that other colleges didn't have. My audition here went really good, where like I felt really good afterwards. So something about it just felt like I had to go to the school. And a lot of my people that I've talked to have said they also got that feeling where when they saw the school that they wanted to go to, they knew right then like that this is the one that I'm going to choose. Some people don't, and it's just a person thing, but that's mainly what made me want to choose my school.
That's really great. Thank you. Anyone else? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I can go. So it's been a while, but I started this whole process, I think the summer before my senior year. That's when I got my essay done. I think that that's a good time because I took harder courses in my senior year than I had before. So, you know, first semester of your senior year can be very challenging academically. So, you know, you want to make sure that you will have the time. And so I applied to probably 10 to 12 different colleges. The reason I decided to come to NJIT ultimately was one thing was the cost. It's a public school, so I get in-state tuition. Another thing was, like I mentioned before, the majors that they offered and the coursework. I felt like a lot of the courses that they offered that I would learn some valuable skills from those courses. Another thing was looking at which employers come to the school and the job placement rates and what companies students from the school end up working in. And on a more personal level, I wanted to be closer to home. NJIT is only about a 30 to 40-minute drive from home, so I commute. So that was another important thing for me.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, that actually, sorry if I can say one more thing.
No, go ahead.
That reminded me of something else. I don't remember if I mentioned it, but look at salaries and destinations when you're researching your colleges, because that can sometimes be important if you are going to a school that is like more employability focused, then you can make like better decisions about which major to choose, which majors pay the most, have the best return on investment for what you're paying for the college.
Got it. Thank you for that. So if no one else has anything else to add, we'll go on to the next question. So what are some of your tips for writing a good college essay? And if you don't mind sharing, what did you write about? Anyone can begin.
I can take on this one. So I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but the route that I took with my essay was I actually treated it as a creative writing piece. And I think the biggest piece of, advice that I can give is to be as honest as possible, and hitting like the most important parts of your life. So, or at least, what has been the most meaningful. So personally, I took two things that were really, really close to me, one kind of on the more negative side, one thing on the more positive side, and kind of found a way to write about that. So the positive side being, so I'm a pianist and I, would spend a lot of time playing piano, whether it be for my like classical or like different pieces or just, covers of different popular songs at the time. Also, something about me that I struggled with throughout my life was not being deceitful, deceitful to oneself, to others in an attempt to like please other people, to please yourself, and in truth, not really identifying with who you're really supposed to be. So I took a piece by Debussy, who's a composer who is known for his pieces and arrangements to be like above the clouds. And I essentially wrote my paper about living my life by proxy. And so I took the piece and I kind of arranged it in like, okay, like, this part of each of the, of the symphony. And from there onwards, I kind of just echoed, this is, how I improved as a person. Like I'm still a piece in progress. but I have come from below the clouds, grounded to who I'm supposed to be. And now here I am ready to take on the next 4 years into the rest of my life.
That's really, really interesting. Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to add?
I can go. I definitely agree. Write something that's very true to you and write something honest and authentic, not something that you want or that you think they want to hear. At least for me, I wrote my comment application about one specific volunteer experience I had. And I kind of, it's hard to explain, I guess, but I tried to make it a metaphor into who I am as a person. And I think a good tip that I would recommend is think about what qualities of yours are the biggest and most prominent, and try to make sure that whatever qualities that you think are most prominent in who you are shown through in however you decide to approach the common application. In terms of other essays, I wrote the other ones very directly about some of the extracurriculars I did. So for example, speech and debate was something really important to me throughout high school, and I had like a leadership role in that. So I focused on that a lot. Just definitely do things that show who you are best.
Got it. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
I guess I also want to say that the rest of your application for college is really like two-dimensional and like facts, like your GPA, like the extracurriculars that you did, but this is your chance to show them your voice and kind of stand out. So I'd say like the essays are pretty important to showing like what you're passionate about or the kind of mindset you have as a person, just to like, and it's also a way to maybe, it could be what colleges, like the admissions officer members you vibe to if you tell a good enough story, so.
Thank you. We can move on to the next question if no one else has anything to add.
I can say something really quickly. So I don't remember my essay for Carnegie Mellon specifically, but I was applying to a lot of arts and sciences programs across all the different applications. So I think my common essay was, I was talking about my interest in humanities and linguistics, which I ultimately didn't end up pursuing as a major, but it's kind of funny that I'm doing something with natural language processing in my work right now, so it came full circle. If I were to do it again, if I were to write my essay again, I would probably write about overcoming some type of challenge. I'd probably write about maybe like overcoming my fear of public speaking and how I did specific activities in college, or if I joined hypothetically, like if I joined a public speaking club to overcome that. I think that's what a lot of college admissions people really like to hear. That's the type of story that they remember, and it's all about like college is about personal growth. So they want to see somebody who has a background of personal growth and is able to like self-reflect and show that.
Got it. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just really wanted to say that when you're writing your essay, you really want to talk about what makes you unique, some way in that prompt. So even if you're talking about something that you've overcome, you want to talk about not only how you overcame it, but how what you did could have been different from someone else, like the other application that they're looking at, because there's so many applications and you really want to make sure that you stand out and they remember your essay. I had it easy because I just talked about how everyone around me was going into a different major, but even if it's something that everyone else is doing, you just want to write about from like your own perspective, almost like how you're seeing it instead of how everyone else would see it for you.
Right. Thank you. So we'll move on to the next question. This is about campus visits. So how does visiting the campuses help? What do you look for in a campus visit? Anyone can be in.
I would say number one, look for happy students. Um, you can look up a lot of like the academic programs and stuff like that online. So when you go to a college, really like pay attention to how you feel about it, what your impression is. Look at the quality of life. If you were living there, the dorms, eating options on campus, meal plans, like ask the students who are there about those kinds of things, because that is very important. You're going to be spending 4 years of your life there, so don't discount that.
Yeah, those are helpful tips. Thank you. Anyone else?
I would make sure that if you can, try and shadow in on a class on that campus. I didn't do this, but I know a lot of my friends do this, and I wish I had. That would have been so helpful. I got to like tour dorm rooms so I could see how big they were, and they were not very big. So make sure you know how like are able to do that, and just make it a point to visit common places on campus. And if there's a college town, visit the college town. Make sure you can picture yourself in that college. And if you can't, then that might not be the one that you should go to.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Try to shadow a class if you can. Try to see the dorm rooms. Try to eat the food if it's not good. And you are a big foodie, do not go to those schools if the food isn't good. I definitely agree in terms of looking for how happy the students are and how the energy is. I went in April. I was going to the universities I kind of narrowed it down to, and I narrowed it down to Rice in Houston, Texas, and UCLA. So when I went to Rice, I actually went in thinking like, okay, this is the school I'm going to be attending because that's the one I initially wanted to go to. And when I went there, I remember it was like a rainy day and I was taking pictures like in front of the huge, like the really iconic building on campus. And I realized that no one was there, like absolutely no one was walking outside. It was very gloomy and humid. And then a week later, when I visited UCLA, it was very sunny. There was music playing, like people were all around. And definitely don't let your campus visit be the only big factor that you're choosing on. But I think for me, just comparing those two a week after each other, it made my decision a lot easier. So definitely see that energy and see if you can have that, if it feels right and if it feels like the place is right for you.
Thank you. Those are really good tips. Would anyone else like to add?
Well, just, going off what everyone has said, you have the facts and figures about your college. Like your visit is all about, hey, do I picture myself being happy, living the best 4 years of my life while getting closer to my future here? One small or like one main thing to look for, I say step into the libraries and see if you picture yourself sitting there and studying, because I think one of UW's highest selling points is our library that literally looks like a scene out of Hogwarts. So yeah, definitely.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you. Anyone else? Or we could move on to the next question.
I actually have another quick thing to add. I recognize if this COVID-19 pandemic happens longer than any of us want, and this next cycle of students, if you're not able to see the university, it is pretty unfortunate, especially I think because all of us mentioned being very swayed by our college visits. I think another resource that is very helpful is going on YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube college vloggers or YouTubers who post like a day in the life on campus. And I think that's always really helpful. If you can't visit the college itself, it's really helpful to kind of see someone videotaping their dorm room and their dining halls and things like that. So that's another resource that might be helpful.
Yeah, that actually is a really good idea. Thank you for that. Anyone else? Or we can move on to the next question. Okay. So what is your suggestion on applying for scholarships? What kinds of resources help? Anyone can take this question.
I can speak about this briefly. So I think one of the first and foremost criterias is usually public versus private, but not for every case. Usually if you apply out-of-state public, there aren't a lot of scholarships available to out-of-state students to public universities. I also know that applying to prestigious private universities, there's not a lot of academic scholarships available to students. But on the other hand, the private universities that are not necessarily like top tier, like Harvard, do offer quite a good amount of academic scholarships. I definitely received almost half my tuition at a couple or two of those private institutions. And one really important thing or to really focus on is to set aside these scholarships that your college offers, you know, because that's not the only place to look for. And that's definitely something that I didn't maximize on. Your mom or dad's employers might have scholarships available for you to apply to. I know that my high school had several like alumni scholarships available to apply to. There are also like various scholarship applications on the web where you just have to write some kind of essay and it's kind of like an essay competition, or there are also, things like science fairs, different competitions. So definitely your only avenue for attaining scholarships shouldn't just be the college you're attending, because there are so many different avenues that you should definitely take towards.
To kind of jump off of that, I definitely recommend scouring those websites and seeing what scholarships are offered at your school. I know for me at UCLA, they had one scholarship that isn't really advertised too much. And I ended up looking at it and I was like, I don't want to really apply. Like, it probably won't be worth it to write those essays. But I think it was the night it was due. I was like, okay, why not? Let's just apply. And that ended up being like a big factor in me choosing the university. So never think that you are not like worth applying to any of these scholarships. Just apply to it. The harms are not as bad as what the gains could be. So definitely recommend doing that. And I would like to echo what Nehal said, because there are a lot of scholarships just offered online, like the Comcast scholarship, Coca-Cola scholarship, just really amazing opportunities to take advantage of. So definitely do that.
Those were really good tips. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, so when I went on my college tour, I found out about a lot of scholarships that I didn't necessarily know about when I was auditioning and applying for the school by just asking. Also, if you're going to a school and you're not going as a music major, you can still try and get a music scholarship. You just have to contact the School of Music and the faculty board, and you can ask to audition, send in a video, playing your instrument and with whatever repertoire they're asking for. And there's a good chance that you might be able to get something. If you're auditioning for a music school, for a music major, definitely try to get some scholarships. There's a lot of them out there. And depending on your instrument or voice type, it's really likely that you could get something. So, yeah.
I'd also like to add that once you get into the specific college too, you can keep applying for scholarships. And there's also lots of niche scholarships that are specifically for say women within engineering or something like that, that really limits the pool a lot more. So it might make you feel more like you have a chance at these scholarships versus kind of bigger ones that might seem more intimidating. But I'll say keep an eye out for those and just keep looking out for scholarships even once you do get in.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to add? Or we can move on to the next question. Okay. So this next question is about pressure. So how did you handle the pressure when applying for colleges? How did you avoid the pressure from your parents? Also, do you have any advice for the parents? How can they help? Anyone can start this question.
So pressure is kind of inevitable in the college application process. Everybody around you is talking about what college they're going to, what college they're applying to. when people get in early action, that can be kind of stressful because they're already like committed to a college and you haven't even gotten into one yet. So I remember it was like that for me. But just, I would say, focus on perspective. Like a semester into college, you're not even going to care about all of the, different colleges you apply to. Nobody's going to care that much about it. So just try and remember that there's, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but there's bigger things to come than just what college you get into. And a lot of times, like you can end up going in the same path regardless of which college you go to anyway. So that would be my few words of advice.
Thank you. That was very beneficial information. Would anyone else like to add on?
I can go very briefly. I wanted to echo that. I'm a firm believer personally that your performance at the school is far more important than like the school's prestige or like how great the school is, its ranking, whatever. Especially because as you're looking for jobs or if you're applying to graduate school, your GPA at these institutions will matter. So you want to go to a school, not only that's like good, obviously, but you want to go to a place where you will be happy, where you will be healthy and where you can do well. So I think in terms of taking some of that pressure off, just know that like things have a way of working out. And a lot of it is based on the individual. So once you go to these schools, put in hard work, make friends, get involved, and you'll enjoy your time regardless. There's a place for you at any institution. And I know that's very cliche, but I think that's important to remember.
Yeah, that's a good thing to keep in mind. Thank you. Would anyone else like to add?
Yeah, sorry.
I'd also like to echo what Sapna said about that your hard work and the work you put in is more important than wherever you end up going anyway. So like the prestige is there, but it's also just the passion and hard work you put in. Like personally, the first summer that I was, or the first summer after my first year at Penn State, I was able to get an internship at Google. And I know that's not something people would think like somebody from Penn State would do as like a first year student, but it honestly really doesn't matter. Especially within my field, I just noticed that it's just whatever work you put in. It's not really the school. Like obviously that the school does help a lot and the education will be different, but don't be discouraged from wherever you do get in, and don't put too much pressure on yourself because everything will just happen for a reason. So whatever ends up happening, it's probably for the best and will probably be in your best interest anyway.
Thank you. Anand, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was also going to say, don't worry too much about, when you're in your senior year and everyone is saying where they're going to college. I know that when, at that age, it seems like college is the final destination, but then, once you're in college, it's about, what company you're working for, what you're pursuing afterwards. So definitely choose whichever college is best in long term. And another thing that helps with the pressure is probably a lot of you already know this, but to have a few safety schools. So then you apply to these safety schools and then you know that even if your top choice doesn't work out, you still have a few good options to choose from.
Got it. Thank you for that. Would anyone else like to add on, or we can move on to the next question?
Yeah, just briefly about advice for parents or whatnot. So definitely in my family, applying to a US college was a first time experience for us. And I'm thankful that, my parents, even if they didn't know everything that there was to know, they learned with me and they, learned the process and, that was really, really helpful. I understand that parents, who haven't applied to US colleges themselves might get frazzled by, oh, like that, that person's son is applying to this college, like maybe you should too. Just take into consideration who your child is and what they want to do and make sure that you can push them without the influence being comparison to others, right? You still want to push your child, but with the right reasons. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's also a really good thing to keep in mind. Thank you. We could move on to the next question. So, what would you have done differently in high school, knowing what you know now? And what would you do differently if you're applying to college now? Krishna, you could begin if you want.
Sure. So I would probably focus more on GPA and less on test scores. I think like I didn't have a terrible GPA in high school, but I thought that I could make up for, uh, you know, points on my GPA with getting an outstanding SAT score. At the end of the day, I think a lot of colleges don't really care. Like GPA is the most important. I'd have focused more on taking um, courses that I really enjoy rather than just trying to rack up all the AP courses, even if I'm not really interested in the subject, and like really making sure I do well in those AP courses. Um, and I would have done more research into specific programs and looking at like the courses for each major in detail for all of the colleges I applied to. Um, so yeah, more like detailed research on each of the colleges.
Got it. Thank you. Anyone else?
Kind of bouncing off what Krishna said, I didn't apply to a lot of 7-year or 8-year MD or DO programs, and I kind of wish that I, knew a little bit more about them because you get to skip the MCAT and whatnot. So definitely, a little more research about programs is very, very helpful because you want to work smarter, not work hard. Like if you can work smarter, you should take that approach. But that being said, I am still happy to be at the university that I am, given that the numerous pre-medical opportunities that it does give me. I also want to strongly echo, not taking all the AP IB courses that your high school offers if they offer too many. Because in my school, they offered a lot. Like we're nearing around like 30, 35 range. And so, competition for valedictorian status was pretty fierce. And of course, ambitious me was like, I want to be that. But, it is so far more important to make sure that you excel in courses that you not only know you're going to do well in, but are also going to enjoy, maybe like give you insight into what you might do in the future. Take, like I took a IB anthropology class that really gave me a lot of insight also into linguistics, and I really enjoyed a linguistics class that I took in college. But if you are just forcing yourself through like IB econ for no reason other than just, hey, I want to like up my weighted GPA, it's probably not worth it. One more thing is that I was also an avid speech and debater, and I would often find my time, many times, spending a lot of time prepping for tournaments, often disregarding some of my like small light coursework here and there. You might not realize it then, but it can and will affect your performance in that course. And excelling at that one tournament may not be what you should prioritize over that GPA that college admissions people are always going to look at with higher priority. So don't make the mistake that like I'm going to national tournaments, all of that is going to somehow outweigh GPA, which somehow still seems to be like the most like important indicative factor of in your profile for admissions.
And then also on the other side of what everyone here is kind of saying, I kind of wish I did take certain like more classes in high school just because I didn't realize how much tougher and heavier the pressure in college would be. So I kind of wish I took AP social studies classes because I didn't realize that in college, like every major is going to have general education requirements. So either way, I'm going to have like a language requirement. I'm going to have social studies requirements and all of that. So if I had taken those in high school when I feel like I had a lot less pressure on me, it would have made things a lot easier in college. So if I had taken those, then I would have gotten out of taking like probably like 5 or 6 classes in college that I just wouldn't have had to take at all since I took them in high school. So like the mistake that I kind of made was that I only took AP courses in like stuff that I thought I would be majoring in. So I only took like AP math and AP science ones, but I wish I took other ones instead because those would have helped me move ahead and focus more on my major related classes once I get to college.
Adding on to that, because I'm an education major, I wish that I focused my classes more on childhood development and speaking and those kinds of classes instead of like AP math and AP science, because by the time my junior year and senior year came around, I knew that I wanted to go into music, but I still took the AP classes because that's what everyone else was doing. And even though it wasn't necessarily applying to me, that's just what you did when you wanted your GPA to be really high. But for me, that didn't really help what I was trying to do as much. Like my main source of getting into a school was my audition. And if I had spent more time doing like childhood development, then I would be much more prepared for the classes that I'm taking in college. So really make sure that your classes that you're taking are going to help you when you're applying to your schools, or are going to help you in your future classes instead of just doing what you think will look best on the application.
Cool. I have a quick one too. Realistically, I think the biggest thing, and this goes into the pressure, my biggest thing is I wish I enjoyed more and had more fun. And that sounds super cliche. I think there are moments where, you know, you do math problems, you check your phone and you go back and forth. Like, I wish I was more efficient when I was studying. I wish that I spent less time, you know, maybe holed up in my room and spent more time with my parents instead, or with my friends. I think little like AP Calc tests that I probably came home crying about when I was in junior year mean little to nothing now that I'm 20 and in my entering my 3rd year of college. So definitely don't put all this pressure on yourself, because it will matter so little in the long run. Little things here and there that mean the world right now won't have much of an impact. So enjoy your time and really just take the time with your family, with your friends, and make the most of that.
Great. Thank you all for the very helpful information. We can move on to the next question. So, do you have any advice on failures or disappointments, and how did you overcome them? Anyone can start this question.
I can start this one. I think a big thing that could help in terms of at least the college application process is not getting too strong-hearted on like one school specifically before you get in, and like really like idolizing it and all that. Like maybe just like be really open-minded to all the schools you applied to. And then that way, like I think the disappointment will hit a little less if you haven't committed to it as strongly in your head. And just know that like whatever you do, like even schools that you think you might not end up liking, like the school that I went to, I was like really not that excited personally to start school, and it wasn't the school I wanted to go to originally. But then now looking back, it's like I wouldn't have changed anything. Like even if I got into another school, I would have still wanted to go to this school, and it was perfect for me. So just like keep an open mind is what I'd say.
That's great. Thank you. And would anyone else like to add on?
I would say just keep talking to people, keep like an open channel of communication with your parents, with people who are maybe older than you. Similar to my answer to the last question, just like make sure you have a overall perspective of things.
So, you know, addressing the question, I think it's important to remember that you're like 14 to 18, you're supposed to be going through like failures and disappointments, and just remember that everyone else is too, right? So that's not to devalue your own problems, but to more so make you feel not as alone, right? Like you can talk to other people going through different things and they can help you, vice versa. But just remember that your failures, your disappointments, the strongest way to overcome them is to figure out what you can gain from them, right? So like one of my disappointments that I'm still, struggling with and still improving on is, procrastination, not just on assignments, but on like daily things. So, you look at that, you look at what you're doing wrong, look at what can I do to, lessen the effects of, that problem, and make sure that you implement that. And there's, no other way to overcome failure or disappointment unless you gain something from it.
Thank you. I could definitely relate to the procrastination part. Would anyone else like to add on? Okay, we can move on to the next question. So people sometimes tend to have a difficult time deciding which laptop or computer to buy for college. So do you recommend a PC or Mac, and which one is better for college and why? Anyone can start.
I can start by saying one thing is, at least what I started doing in college, I noticed a lot of other peers doing too, is taking digital notes. So I had a Surface tablet, which is a laptop, but also a tablet. So I took all my notes on there, and investing in a computer like that where you can more easily take digital notes might be helpful in the long run, depending on your major. But then since I was also computer science, I couldn't write all my code on that. So I'm also a big Mac OS fan. So I would also suggest MacBook too for college. But again, it really doesn't matter. I think you can be fine on whatever laptop you take with you to college.
Got it. Thank you. Anyone else?
I really like Mac for my classes, but also the best decision I've ever made for my music classes is to get an iPad. You can keep all your music on it. You can write in any notes on it. It's the only thing that I use for all of my classes now, and I use it even more than my laptop. So if you're going to take a class that requires music or any kind of a lot of paper, it's also better for the environment than printing all of that paper. So.
Definitely echoing what Neha said with any kind of biology or biochemistry classes. I did not realize this whatsoever. I thought I could tackle anything on paper, I can draw the diagrams and I can get through everything, but you seriously cannot keep up with the pace of the lecture if you're spending all your time drawing out things where you could be taking notes specifically on, beyond what the graphic is, what exactly each little mechanism is. So just recently, about a few months ago, I started using an iPad, and most of your lectures will always give you pre-lecture notes. Basically, if they're running a PowerPoint, they will give you a blank PowerPoint with whatever the problems, whatever the diagrams are. And even if you don't have an iPad or something, if you're okay with printing that much paper, I highly recommend, that kind of system, because lectures are fast, college is fast, you're covering, year-long courses in high school in either a semester or a quarter. So in order to keep up with the pace, I definitely would invest in some kind of tablet that, if you are especially taking a course where you would be taking notes off of diagrams and stuff like that, just so you can actually adhere to the analysis of the material instead of just, copying down a diagram.
Yeah, those are good tips. Thank you. Would anyone else like to add anything?
Yeah, I can speak to the pre-med side and also some of the coding. So I use a Mac. I find it really convenient for installations, writing code, everything. I just can't imagine not using it because I'm so used to it at this point. That said, I'm sure that my brother, he uses Windows, so he can probably tell you why that's the best thing. It's whatever you're most used to. And then for pre-med, I've actually seen people use the Apple Pencil and write on tablets. I think that's some of what was mentioned before. It's very convenient, and especially for physiology, drawing diagrams and things like that. And annotating drawings, that can be very useful.
Yeah, that was good insight. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, so I'm a computer science major, I've been using Windows Computer throughout my college. So far, I haven't had any problems with writing code or downloading any softwares that are required for any of my other classes. And we do a lot of programming in a Linux environment. And for that, we do have access to our school's computers. We can connect to them remotely, and we can use virtual machines. So, so far, I think you should be fine with either Windows or Mac for computer science major.
Got it. Thank you. So we can move on to the last question, which is any suggestions for undecided students? And anyone can start this question.
I can go. My biggest suggestion is one, learn how to code, because regardless of what field you're going into, it'll probably come up, at least at UCLA, with our public affairs class. If you're pre-med, if obviously you're CS or engineering, all of us have to learn to code at some point. So definitely learn how to do that and get familiar with that because it will come in handy. The other thing is I honestly think there's no pressure to switch. One of my really good friends started off as a business economics major and then is now learning CS and is learning linguistics at the same time. So definitely so much flexibility. Just be open-minded. And I think this is something that Krishna had spoken about earlier. But I also recommend if you are completely undecided, maybe looking into majors or fields that are a little more interdisciplinary. So for example, my major, it's human biology and society. So there's people who are interested in policy, public health, medicine, law, there's a lot of ways that you can go with the major. So if you aren't sure, just try to choose something more open-ended or interdisciplinary.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to add on?
Yeah, just to add on to like the interdisciplinary course formats. So at UW, and I'm pretty sure at many other colleges too, the applied mathematics departments have a lot of concentrations in whether it be like physics or biology or whatnot. Even in my research lab, I find myself having to tinker around with MATLAB. So like that's another like coding platform for data collection in a lot of biological research that's being conducted. So I full-heartedly agree that going in with a little bit of coding knowledge, I did robotics in high school, so I had a little bit of Java before I went to college, but definitely like a program like R would be really helpful no matter what field you go into, just because it's very applicable. You could, I'll have a lot of friends who transition from info and CS to also taking like a business major and vice versa as well. And it's just with today's day and age, I think having a bit of coding knowledge will give you not only like that applicability to different courses, but also a little bit safety knowing that, okay, like I have some sort of plan, if not like anything at all.
Got it. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would just say to try and take as many classes in as many different subjects as you can. And if you find something that you really like, even if it's something that might not be what is like ideal, maybe you end up really liking art or music, don't be scared about pursuing it because you're scared of not being able to get a job. There's a lot of different job opportunities out there that you might not know about. Like my major has 100% job placement, which a lot of people are surprised to hear about, but it's out there. And if you're really passionate about something, don't be scared to pursue it because you'll find that you'll be able to find something.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you. Anyone else would like to add?
Yeah, definitely agree with what's been said before about coding. You really can't go wrong with that if you're undecided. Also wanted to say that if you are undecided when you're applying for colleges, try maybe like apply to more public schools. You can go to a public school for undergrad, but if you really want to, get a brand name school, you can go there for your master's degree. And at that time, you'll probably be more certain about what eventual path you want to go on. that's something I probably would have done differently because I wasn't very certain about my field of study when I was going into college. And it's like a huge investment to make to go to a private school for that. I was lucky that, you know, by chance, what I ended up doing, I liked, or the two different things I was doing because I did pre-med and statistics. So, you know, even at smaller schools, Carnegie Mellon it's a medium to maybe smaller school. There's not a huge range of majors. So I was lucky that I found something that I liked there. But if I had not, then that would be, it would be a kind of waste of an investment. So I'd say you can go to a big school and you'll have a huge array of things. Once you are decided and once you're more sure of what you want to do, you'll have a lot more options at a bigger school or a public school.
One thing came to mind. So at the University of Washington, most students apply to their major at the end of their second year. Now I'm not sure if that's, the case at like most universities. I don't think it is, but although that sounds pretty promising for an undecided student, beware, because the admissions process for every major, even after you're in college, the admissions process for every major at the end of your second year or so is very, very competitive. So, you need to be taking the courses that are applicable to the major you're applying to and be doing well in them. So if you are undecided, just make sure you research the colleges you're applying to. Is it like feasible to explore what you want to do during your first 2 years there? Is that something you can do without too much stress or too much pressure weighing in on you and swaying you in a decision that you might not originally intend to go? So yeah, just make sure you find a place where you can explore what you want to do.
Got it. Thank you. Would anyone else like to add anything? Okay, so this concludes all the questions that I have prepared, and thank you all so much for answering. I definitely learned a lot of new information, and I'm sure the audience has as well. So now my dad will be asking some questions that the audience has asked through YouTube chats.
Hello all, good to see you. Good afternoon. Hope that you are liking this program. Actually, I was monitoring, the YouTube chat, and I have noticed some comments and a few questions. So one of the question which came on the YouTube is this is to the panel. Any advice on going to the community college? Has anyone thought about it? When you were applying, or your thoughts on that, please?
So I personally had not thought about it, but at UW, there are a number of students in Washington who did something called Running Start, where they do their first 2 years in a community college. So essentially, they'll take out most of their intro classes at a community college, which tend to be harder to get a better grade in. So essentially, you can, save a lot of money, and in addition to that, maybe save a little bit of stress that you would experience during the first 2 years. But there is something to look out for there. If you are planning to apply for graduate or med school or anything like that, just remember that these admissions process for graduate schools are pretty aware of the rigor at a community colleges versus a four-year college. Again, it shouldn't be too much of a problem if you perform well at the four-year institution that you end up going to, but it's just something to think about.
Okay, thank you. Anyone has anything to add to Nehal?
Yeah, I have a few friends that did community college and then they transferred to the full-time university, and they were able to do it. They just said to make sure that you check your courses on, I think they use transferology or something like that to make sure that the courses that you're taking do transfer to whatever college that you end up transferring to. Also, my high school did this thing and it partnered with the community college in our area, and it basically acted as an AP course, but it was through the community college and you could get college credit when you went into college without taking the AP class, which I know some people did, and that apparently got them a lot of college credit as well.
Great, thanks, Neha. Okay, here is the second one. This is kind of bit heavy. I don't know. Let's see. You know, I'm going to ask, and you guys think about it and answer. You know, give it a thought. Okay, and basically it says that how our kids see between themselves, you know, sponsored by parents versus other kids, you know, self-sponsored, basically, right, in their colleges. Basically, have you guys had any kind of a discussion or a scenario in which this was part of the thing, you know, came up, or also you know, the future debt scenario, but probably that you know, also maybe you guys have a thought on that, you know, once you finish up your graduation, right? So if you have any thoughts on that subject, yeah, please go ahead. Otherwise, you know, it's fine.
I can start. I think definitely talking to my other friends, like I know a lot of people have to take out like a lot of loans and like leave college like with a lot of debt, but I think talking to them, I just feel really fortunate to be in a place where, and I think a lot of like students with like Indian families may have their parents support them a lot more. So I feel really fortunate to be supported in that way. And I think like going to college, I realized like not many people do have that. So it definitely is something to not be like saying a lot too, because I think it is something to be considered of, that a lot of people are paying through college themselves without that much financial support. So it's something to just keep in mind when you're giving advice to your peers or talking about yourself too, maybe. Yeah.
Usually at a university, you people who can qualify for it, there will be a lot of work study positions. So that's just not just, you know, like working in the dining hall or something like that. Like you can be working at like an internship kind of per se in like a research lab or other places. And that work study position will often pay higher than the minimum wage. And it will offer like insurance and benefits, like things like that. So, you know, and at the same time, you're getting a valuable experience out of that, out of the college by, you know, getting that kind of work study position. So, you know, if you are able to, you know, make it to college and fund yourself through that, seek out the work study positions through the financial aid office so you can, you know, get that like experience while also being able to support yourself better.
All right, great. Thank you, Apurva, and thank you, Nehal. Actually, those are the two questions. Basically, I saw there were lots of good comments from a lot of other people and parents and everything, and we are really glad that you people came on board and, you know, helped us to set this seminar. I'm sure it has been a great you know, discussion, insight from you all. We really appreciate it, and you know, basically right now we are basically concluding this seminar, but we will actually start the last part of the program now. So again, you know, on behalf of you know, HAA Jnana Artha team and the education team, we really thank you all for doing this, and thanks to, you know, all audience for your support and interacting with us, and you know, asking questions and giving comments and things like that. If definitely, you know, we want to continue this kind of a program in future, depending on the availability of the students and the interest and things like that. Anyway, that's secondary, you know, we're going to think about it later. Okay, I'm gonna begin the last part of the program now. So I actually shared the Zoom link with on the YouTube channel. I see many more people on the Zoom. It looks like some of you guys got it. So people, the graduates and the parents definitely can come on Zoom now, because we will be starting recognizing our 2020 graduates. Actually, before that, our Ashok Timappa has something to say about this. So Ashok, you want to go ahead? Ashok, I think you are on mute.
Yeah, I will. But I think there's somebody, maybe the mic is open, so I can hear the echo. So no, I'm not. Okay. Can you hear me? There seems like there's some echo, right?
We can hear you.
Yeah. Wow, that was some program. Oh, there's a delay. Is it better?
Yeah, we can hear you fine and see you fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Like, okay, I'm sorry. When I don't get the feedback here, so that's a problem. I'm sorry about that. Wow, that was some program. That was amazing. And I'm very, very, very impressed with all the panelists and Ananya and Bhakti. So thank you very much. That was a very, very informative session. This is Ashok, as I said. So, and I want to welcome all the graduates and their families to the program. Introducing this HAA graduates is a new initiative and was decided only a few days back. Appreciate you are all joining in such a short notice. Sorry, for some of you have to wait for a while. So graduates, year 2020 has been a very tough year for all of us. You might not have an opportunity to celebrate your graduation, but I would like you to know that Havyaka community is here for you, cheering you on, and looking forward to wherever life takes you next, and feeling so proud of you. We hope you feel the pride and the caring and the good wishes surrounding you here today. I'm very impressed with the achievements of the graduating class. It's really amazing. We are planning to create a database of Havyaka kids in various universities. We will get that information to you. I suggest you reach out to the other Havyaka kids at your university. Develop your own Havyaka network. Of course, you'll have your own friend circle, but having an additional support structure is a big advantage. As the panel said earlier, reaching out to your other friends is always very helpful. So we have Havyaka kids in every major school. And as you know, most of the major corporations have the Havyaka people. So the networking power is huge. May it be a succeeding finding a admission or finding a job after the graduation. So you don't have to do it for your parents. You do it for your own success. So keep growing, keep adding the goodness to the beauty of the world. Keep developing those unique dreams and talents you make yourself, make who you are. Congratulations and love and best wishes. Thank you. Back to you, Anand.
Yeah, thank you, Ashok. Yeah, that's a great thing. Yes, we need to develop the network in the youngster level. So we all need basically everybody's help, especially with the youngsters to develop that. Great. It's as Ashok said. In a short notice, we managed to get to spread the word regarding this recognizing the graduates, and we managed to get 24 names from all over US and also from Canada. Hopefully there are more than 24, and eventually, as Ashok said, we will have a database of all the kids, so that it's going to help for the better network. So actually the idea is, we are going to start with from the chapters from alphabetical order. So we are going to go from Atlanta, then Canada, Florida, Dallas, Michigan, Northeast, Neha, Northern California, and Southern California. Okay, and here are the names of the graduates, and it's a bit kind of a tricky. We want these graduates to come online and basically talk a sentence or two, and about yourself, and maybe just give us tell us which college and things like that you're heading. So basically the information what we collected. So I don't know, as I said, there are 24 of them, and here are the 5 names from Atlanta. Swati Shivram, are you there, Swati? Or her parents?
Yes, Swati is there.
Okay, Swati, where is your camera? Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, you are on mute. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
good.
Congratulations. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello. I'm Swati, and I graduated from South Forsyth High School with the IB diploma program. Well, I got accepted into my dream school, UC Berkeley, but I decided to attend University of Georgia because, the pandemic happened and other conveniences. And I guess just to give a little advice to anyone who's, going through the college process this year, or, is in high school, just make sure to make wise choices when it comes to, your overall college decision, and also, stick to a passion. And I know everyone says this, but it can really go a long way. I stuck with doing video production, and I was able to utilize this in so many different aspects, whether it be, medicine, business, and this really helped me in the long run. So good luck to everyone with your future college endeavors.
Excellent. Thank you, Swati. Okay, next from Atlanta is Priyanka Kadur. Are you there, Priyanka?
Actually, Priyanka is not there, but I'm her mom, Indira Kadur.
Okay, you please you can switch on your camera. That's fine.
For some reason, I don't know, my camera looks to be off. I'm turning on, but it doesn't show up. I think there is some issue with the laptop, maybe.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, she couldn't join it because of some other commitment, and she actually attended to one of the high schools here from the one of the counties called Gwinnett County, and she's attending to one of the state colleges here, that is Georgia State. And my husband is Kenapati Kadur, and we both are from South Canara, India.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. The next one is Risha Hegde.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Ananda Shiva. Near Krishna.
I know. Finally, we are meeting here, right?
I know,
Yeah.
on Zoom.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Risha could not join. Risha is driving to her university right now with her friend. So she's surrounded with her friends, so she couldn't take the call. So Risha graduated from a magnet school here in Marietta, Georgia. So she's attending an honors college in University of Georgia. I don't know what else. That's all I can say. I'm her mom, Jayashri, and my husband is Ashwini Kumar, and Ashwini is Anand's cousin.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Good to see you, and thank you very much.
Good
Good
to
luck
see you guys
to
too.
Risha.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is Roshni Kailar. She graduated from college. Roshni, are you here?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Roshni. My parents are Rupa and Raja Kailar. I just graduated from the University of Pennsylvania and I majored in biology. And I am at Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine. I just started like in July and it's going pretty well so far. One piece of advice I probably have, I think probably a lot of people have already said this, considering you just had a panel about college and everything. But I'd say just like do what you're passionate about because it really shows in interviews and essays and everything like that. But yeah, congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Roshni. Good luck to you. Okay, the last one from Atlanta, I have Shweta Mudulegundi. Are you here, Shweta?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. My name's Shweta Mudulegundi. My parents are Sheila and Vijay. We're from Atlanta. I just graduated from the University of Miami, and I started last week at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. And these are kind of weird times to be starting new chapters, but everything will work out in the end. Just stick to what you know and don't let other people sway you in different directions. That's my one piece of advice.
Thank you, Shweta. Good luck to you. And congratulations. Okay, now we are going to go to Canada. The first one is Nirmal Hegde, and after that, Ananya Balike. Nirmal, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
Okay, so hi, my name is Nirmal. I'm from Ontario, as you guys have heard, and my parents are Shrikant Hegde and Deepthi Hegde, and we're from Hannavar, Karnataka. I currently graduated high school from Harold and Brathwaite Secondary School with the IB diploma, and I'm gonna go to the University of Waterloo for systems design engineering. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Good luck to every single person who's still wanting to go to university and whoever wants to go to graduate school.
Yeah, thank you, Nirmal. So we're going to recruit you next time for the next session to be on the panel. Great, we need people from Canada. Okay, hi Ananya, are you here?
Yeah, hi, my name is Ananya. My parents are Krishna Prasad and Lalita. For high school, I attended Turner Fenton Secondary School for the IB diploma program. And for university, I'm going to the University of Western Ontario for medical sciences. And one piece of advice that I would give would be to don't follow others' advices. I know that sounds contradictory, but it's great to get perspective from others. But in the end, you create your own experiences. So you need to get that firsthand experience yourself because other people give advices based on their experiences as well. So it's not going to be the same for you. And yeah, and congratulations and good luck to everyone here.
Thanks, Ananya. Yeah, she's a great dancer. You know, she just had her program what, couple of weeks ago, I guess, right? Yeah. All right. Thank you. And let's move to Florida. We have I hope I think I'm pronouncing it right. Sharvi Sharma. Hi.
Hi, yeah, that's me, Charvi. Yeah, so I live in Tampa, Florida. My parents are Geeta and Nagaraja Sharma. And I just graduated high school from Berkeley Preparatory School. And I'll be going to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where I'll be studying computer science and molecular biology and possibly being on the pre-med track. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess a piece of advice I would give to rising seniors is to make sure to stay organized, because I know like the college process can be super stressful at times, but if you have like a spreadsheet of all your colleges, you know, where like what interviews you have, or like the deadlines for how many essays, what do you have to write, making sure to keep track of all that, staying on top of things, it'll make it a lot more smoother of a process. And yeah, thank you so much for hosting this.
Thank you, Charvi. Good luck to you. You know, MIT. Yeah, big school, big dreams. Fantastic. You know, good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, now we will head to Dallas. Avani Sharma, are you here?
Hi.
Hi.
Vinny, I'm a neuroscience major that will be attending the University of Texas at Dallas. My parents are Shaila Jakulakodlu and my dad is Arun Kalakunja. One piece of advice I would say is to not let too many people read your college essays, because that's like too many conflicting perspectives.
Yeah, I think that's a great advice. You know, too many advices, and you get confused, and I think it becomes their essay rather than your essay probably at the end. So, thank you for the advice. Good luck to you. Best wishes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we are heading to my hometown, home chapter, basically Neha. You know, Northeast Havyaka Neha. We have 3 people from graduating from Neha, and all of them are basically graduated from college. One is actually she's in the panel. She has given a lot of good advices to everybody. She is Apurva Shastri. She's right there. I think Apurva, you can go with your last piece of advice. Congratulations, and she's already working, so go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Apurva Shastri and my parents are Pratibha and Uday Shastri. And I graduated this past spring from Penn State University from the Shire Honors College. And I majored in computer science, and now I'll be working full-time, or I just started actually this past week working full-time with Capital One as a software engineer in the New York City area, but currently working from home. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Also, thank you for hosting this event, recognizing all of us through the ceremony too.
Thank you, Apurva. Actually, yeah, Apurva's father, Uday Shastri, he's my cousin, you know, and she's coming to New York. So I live in Jersey. So she will be visiting me, hopefully. Right, Apurva? Okay. And yeah, now the next graduate is Vipul Bhatt. Are you here, Vipul? Yes, he's there. I can see him. Vipul, we can't hear you. Not yet.
How about now?
Yes.
Switch
Yes.
the mic.
I can hear you now. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So, my name is Vipul. My parents are Vishwanath and Geeta. We're from Voorhees, South Jersey. I just graduated from Johns Hopkins with a degree in computer science. A lot of my focus during college was in medical technology, and I ran cross country and track all 4 years while I was in college. I was originally going to work for the next year as a software engineer at Epic, which is a medical software company. But after COVID happened, I wanted to do something to help with the pandemic. So now I'm working as a process engineer at a company called Curative Inc. in DC, which is essentially just a COVID testing company. And my role is to do data analysis to help improve the capacity of samples that can go through the lab and validate and program like liquid handling robots and other automation solutions to help automate the process. And I'm also right now in the medical school application cycle for entry in fall of 2021 next year. And then I guess a couple pieces of advice. What you do outside of school matters a lot, because that's whatever you're applying for, whether it's undergrad or grad school, like med school or law school, what you do outside is what makes you a unique applicant. And that's what's actually going to stand out when people are reviewing your application. And then also what Ashok said earlier about connections throughout college and beyond, like the connections you make with people are going to be super valuable in like career development and what you do in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipul. That's great. That's great. Thanks for your advice, and good luck to you. Well, the next is basically we have it's Pawan Hegde, but Pawan, I believe he cannot join, but his father, our own Gajanan Hegde, is here. He's going to speak now. Hi, Gajanan. You're on mute.
Okay, sorry, I was mute not to disturb people. Well, Pawan could not make it, so I just have to step into his place. He graduated in computer engineering from University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Obviously, we are delighted he is, and he's moved on to graduate studies in a related field, computer engineering in Carnegie Mellon. He's just started his week in the college now, hence he couldn't make it here. Anyway, thank you. Just wanted to give that update, and congratulations to all the graduates.
Thanks, Gajanan. Okay, we are going to go to the West Coast now. Northern California, we have actually 1, 2, 3, around 8 or 9 of them from there. Anudeep Hegde, are you here? Anudeep? Okay.
Hi, sorry, just give me a second.
Okay, okay.
Hi.
Hi, Anudeep.
Hi, my name is Anudeep Hegde. I'm from Dublin, California. My parents are Rajendra and Shantala Hegde. I'm going to UC Irvine for the fall semester, majoring in computer engineering and business applications. If I were to give any advice to any upcoming seniors or anyone who's about to apply for the college applications, I would say really do what you're passionate in. Don't do something just because someone else is telling you to do it. Don't base your future off of what other people want you to do. Just follow your dreams, I guess. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, great advice. Best wishes to you. Okay, next we have Diva AV. Hi, Diva. Okay, probably Diva is not here. The next one is Risha Bellaka. Hi, Risha, are you here? Are our parents?
It's Rish, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. Actually, yes, it is Rish. Rish Belka. Sorry, Rishi.
Yeah, I'm Rish Belka. I'm from Union City, California, and I'm gonna go to UC Berkeley to study computer science. If I have any advice for rising seniors, would probably just be show you're passionate in something. Don't go for quantity, just go for quality, like what you want to do. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Thanks, Rish. That's a great advice, and congratulations. Best wishes to you. The next one is Purna Hegde. Hi, Purna.
Hi, my name is Purna. I'm also from Union City, California, and I just graduated from James Logan High School, and I'm going to be going to UC Riverside this fall for neuroscience. My parents are Priya and Vishwanath Hegde, and if I had any advice, I would just say don't stress too much about which college you end up at for undergraduate, because I feel like wherever you go, it's just what you make of the resources there, and like what you do with the opportunities and networking and things like that. So that's pretty much it. And thank you for setting this up.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's one thing we have to remember. Ishan, Avinash. Hi, Ishan. Are you here? Okay. Ishan is not here. I think I have his. Let me just read his thing. 1 second, please. Yeah, I found it. Ishan Avinash. His parents' name is Gopal Avinash and Nima Bhatt. He graduated from Cal High San Ramon, and he is heading to UC Santa Barbara. And his major he hasn't decided yet. I think he's planning to do general engineering. Congratulations, Ishan. Best wishes to you. Okay, and Aniket Bhatt. Hi, Aniket. Are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Hi, I'm Aniket. I'm from Sunnyvale, California. I just graduated with a degree from computer science from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And I'm working full-time at Amazon now as a software developer. My parents are Satya and Anu Bhatt, and they're from near Mangalore in a place called Puttur. And piece of advice that I have for incoming people going to college is to have fun with college and make the most of it, because those 4 years just fly by really quickly. And thank you for setting this up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, best wishes to you, and good luck, and thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Okay, we have Manasa Kukkemane and Lavanya Kukkemane. Hi, both.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Lavanya Kukimane. Our parents are Lakshmi Narayan Kukimane and Vinutha. I just graduated from the University of California in Irvine as a computer science major, and I'm still trying to decide what I'm going to do next. But I guess a piece of advice for anyone at any stage of life is just to find something that you really, really like and that you're excited to do, and make sure that you just put in your effort into doing that. And this is my younger sister, Manasa.
My name is Manasa Okimane. I graduated from Dalton High School, and I'm going to Cal State East Bay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, I don't even know where piece of advice, so I don't want to tell anyone that.
Okay.
I have no idea. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, sisters. That's great. You know, best wishes to you both.
Thank you.
And we have the last one from Northern California is Nishant Salinamaki. Hi, Nishant. Nishant, are you here, or his parents?
Anandan, I think they may be traveling. They told
Okay.
me that. Yeah. So.
Okay,
they
let me just read his Nishant Salinamaki. His parents are Ravi Salinamaki and Mamata Parekodi. He actually graduated from University of Illinois at Urbana. So in fact, actually there were total of 3 or 4 people actually from Urbana. That's great. He's currently working at Facebook and his major is computer science. That's great, Nishant. Best wishes to him. Okay, we have two from Southern California. Mahi, the first one is Mahi Shirur. Hey, Gautam. Hi, Mahi.
So I graduated, or I'm going to UCLA, and my major is molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. And I guess my piece of advice for everyone is to enjoy night school and make as many friends as you can, and just make memories, because now that we're all in quarantine, that's nothing much we can do. So always try to make the most of your situation.
Anandarna, you're on mute. Anandarna, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm on mute. Sorry. Best wishes to you, Mahi. You're doing good, and wish you all the best. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. And we have the last graduate from Southern California, Varshista Kedila. Hi there.
Hi everyone. My name is Rishita Kedala, and my parents are Veena and Ishwara Kedala, and I'm from Cerritos, California, which is in SoCal, and I just graduated from Cerritos High School, and I'll be attending UCLA as a financial and actuarial mathematics major, hoping to become an actuary one day. And so if I were to give one advice to high school students, is really to, I know a lot of people have already said this before, but follow your passions, but don't spread yourself out too thin during high school. I know a lot of high school students take a lot of really rigorous courses, but they might take too many, and you don't want to tire yourself out. You want to really focus on what you want to do and something you're passionate about. So really don't do too many things and try to maintain balance. And with that, you'll eventually find your success. Thank you, and congratulations to all the graduates.
Great advice. Thank you, Varshista. I appreciate it. Best wishes to you. Good luck. And actually, that is all we have. Thank you again. Congratulations, all the graduates. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Oh, Tejas, sorry,
Yeah.
did I miss you?
I think so, but that's okay. Hey everyone.
Please go. Sorry, Tejas.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem at all. Hey everyone, my name's Tejas Kakunje. My parents are Chida and Rupa Kakunje. I'm in Detroit, Michigan, and I'm going to be attending the University of Michigan. I'll be studying biomedical science in Liberal Science and Arts College. Thank you for hosting this. It was really nice to listen from all the panelists and seeing everyone that's graduating. Congratulations to everyone, and thank you.
Thank you, Tejas. Actually, yeah, I think your name came in at the last moment. I think so. I forgot to put it on one of the sheets. Well, again, congratulations to all graduates, and I think Ashok has something to say. I guess. Yeah, Ashok.
Yeah, I want to apologize for earlier this thing because my mic was not working. So, okay, I'm very sorry. And I wanted to really congratulate for all the HAA graduates. It's wonderful and really makes me so proud. My heart is filled, to see all the, wonderful job and everything you guys are doing. One thing I wanted to ask that add was, especially the panel people and also all the other graduates, if it is okay for other students or high school kids or anybody else or who are in the college, if they can contact you, if that is okay with you, please tell your parents so that we can collect that information. The VPs can collect the information, and we want to make a database of that. So because many of the people may want to ask the question directly to you, so they may not want to ask here or so that will be very helpful. So please let your parents know if it is okay to share your number with other people. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. The panelists, we have a what is it? We have a group, right? So you can talk to your parents and let me know, and I will send that information to the VPs, and we can go from there. Actually, that was one of the questions I think in the chat room. Somebody was asking about that. This is what we want. Basically networking, right? So with that, I'm done. And again, I appreciate everybody who came to this program and all the panelists. They did a fantastic job. And thank you very much, Balana, for from setting up from your side. So the last word, I'm just going to give it to Balana.
Yeah, thank you, Anandanna, Shubhaka, and then Ashokanna, and the panelists. Just so that all of you know, we had close to 500 high school going families join us today. So this is definitely far beyond what we expected, and it is an outstanding success. And Anandanna and Shubhaka, you have shown your leadership capabilities in terms of putting together a great program using our HAA Association of America Jnana Artha platform. And I think we look forward to many more such programs from you. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the audience, all of our HAA families who joined today. And this is a very memorable and highly useful program. Once again, I encourage all of you children, as Ashokanna said, help each other and connect with each other and help each other, because that is how the strength is in unity and being connected with each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Balana. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, and also, if you want to see these kind of programs in the future, please contact us or email us and send your questions and what you want to see if we want to have a next panel, next seminar and things like that. So we will share the email and share it with the VPs. Then, they can share, with their chapters. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Balana, Ashokanna. And thank you, Anand.
Okay, so you are upstairs, I know. Thank you. All right, guys. Bye.
Okay, we will hang up now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Shubhaka, Ingo hang up madiyata. I made you host. That is when it will disconnect now.
Oh, okay. And end meeting for all?
Yeah, no, end meeting. Nanile stream end marte. Yeah, I have ended